Yeah, honestly, like I'm not gonna talk about Becca anymore because everything we say about each other turns into clickbait.
Becca was there.
She was. She was.
What is it like watching Becca on Bachelor in Paradise, Blake?
I mean, it's weird in any degree. Like, you know, you watch an ex on television. It's fucking weird, you know. It was weird to watch her on The Bachelorette, too, you know. It's just
True.
weird. Yeah, it's a very weird thing.
She had a connection with Aaron, but then, of course, Thomas and Tammy. I will say about Thomas and Tammy, I mean, that whole thing was messy, and I liked Marissa's note about the penny and the shiny penny and the quarter or whatever, because, you know, grass isn't always greener. And this Thomas and Aaron thing, the fact that they keep finding themselves, this feud is so ridiculous. Like, what they were actually fighting about on The Bachelorette, I don't even remember, but it was definitely stupid. And now it's kind of like a Nick Viall, Josh Murray thing where they're just like interested in the same girls, and it's never going to end.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. Everything keeps like lining up for them. Like they keep going for the same women and stuff. It was weird though. I feel like they completely edited out Becca and Aaron. They clearly had conversations, and there was something there because when Aaron went on that date, Becca was kind of like, "Okay, goodbye, I'm headed home." Like she planned on getting his rose. Like she thought he was the rose. You know, he was the one. So we missed that, and then honestly, I think we missed quite a bit of the conversations with Thomas and Becca. Like all of a sudden, he was, you know, she was like, "Oh, you want to go on a date, Thomas?" I was like, "Have they talked yet?" Like it was this kind of a weird thing. And I get it; they have to make room for drama, so I don't really blame them. But it seemed a little out of left field. And then the conversation with Becca and Tammy before she took Thomas, I thought that was great. I'm surprised they allow that. You know what I mean? Because usually you don't get to talk to usually she would pull like. Well, I guess Aaron wasn't there though.
Because Aaron was with Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aaron was with Chelsea on that date. But I thought Tammy handled that well. Like, had Tammy been like, "No, don't take him," I don't think Becca would have been like, "Okay, I'll take somebody else." Like, I think she still would have taken him. I think that was just kind of like a formality, you know, trying to be nice and look good. But she handled that well. She was like, "Yeah, like at least I'll know now if you take him." But then as soon as he left, she just broke down. She was like, "I fucked up." You know, she was just like, "Oh, what have I done?" So yeah, it was hard to watch. I feel for her.
I feel for her too, but I will say, like, that's the only answer I think that you can really give. Like, you have to go with the, "I want you to choose me when you come back," because at the end of the day, it's gonna suck if they don't choose you, but like that means if you left the show, you would have lasted like 5 seconds because they're clearly just not that into you, and they're, you know, want to quote unquote explore the connection, but also they want to stay on the show. Like that, it's part of it. Like you're playing a game a little bit, not that you don't feel for the person, but like I think the only way, if someone comes to you and says, "Can I go on a date?" or like if the person asks, like you have to just say yes and hope like it's a Serena P situation when she went out with Thomas and immediately was like, "All right, Joe, I pick you." And then now like they're solidified. Like it's the paradise test that you have to like approve of. You can't go crazy and be like, "You're mine," because then you look crazy.
Yeah, you look crazy. And that joke I always say is like, whenever you feel strong about your relationship, they're going to send somebody down that stairs to try and break it up. And that's why I do think a lot of relationships coming off Paradise are pretty strong because they've been through the test. They've gone on dates with other people while dating you. Like, so yeah, I mean, it's like as soon as you feel comfortable, it's like, oh, here comes, you know, the girl he's been waiting for down the steps, you know? So yeah, it's hard down there. It's a hard environment.
You and I both said, I think I tweeted this and you put it on your Instagram story. I will say, I mean, Thomas didn't watch Becca's season, but knew her catchprise, "Let's do the damn thing." That was a little sus, Thomas. That was a little sus.
Yeah, I agree. It was like, and then later on the date, I think he said something like, she was like, "Do you know my dating history?" She's like, No. I'm like,
Never heard of Garrett. Don't know him.
You mean the guy you got engaged to on your season that you said, "Let's do the damn thing"? Like, yeah, it's one of those moments. And honestly, that date, a lot of the conversation, Becca was kind of like, "Yeah, this is hard for me to open up again in this environment," which I 100% agree, and I'm sure it is. But like, I feel like I didn't really see like a huge connection as far as their conversations. Now, obviously, they did have it. We didn't get to see it, but they just showed a lot of Becca being like, "I'm nervous to be here. I'm anxious to be here. I'm stressed to be here. This is hard for me to open up," you know, rather than seeing their actual connection.
Yeah, I think Thomas is kind of a confusing, quote unquote, character, personality, whatever, for the show because we've been told that he's bad by Aaron, but then it also kind of seems like these guys are being crazy and like taking out their vendetta on him. Like mortal enemy was used, which is a strong word for someone on a reality show that you don't know. So I'm really interested about Thomas and like whether he's like misunderstood or if he's like a bad person. And I think it's interesting that, I mean, Becca's kind of like the sweetheart right now, and for her to go for the bad boy, will it work out? Will this make people like Thomas? Will it all be forgiven? I don't know.
I know, it's gonna be an interesting storyline. And I agree, like, Thomas is hard to put a finger on because the only time he's on screen is when he's getting like dogged or when he's in a relationship or like a argument, you know? Like, that's the only time he gets really screen time. But I mean, it seemed, if it was just like 1 or 2 people were like, he's sketch, but everybody else, like, nobody likes the guy. So like, that is what's like, I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Like, even Serena, she came back from the date and she was like, I just didn't feel it. Like, there was something wrong. Like, it was some red flags or whatever she said. So it's just, it's like, I don't know. It's just weird to me that everybody, literally, like, I haven't heard anybody really say anything good about him until maybe Becca. But again, that could be, he maybe just misunderstood. We'll find out. You know, I mean, I think we'll get to know him a lot more, not only on the show, but post-show. And it's hard to, like, make up your mind about somebody through an edited television show. You know what I mean?
And sometimes I get mad when they're trying to tell me what to think. Like, it's almost like this, like, oh, Thomas is bad. I'm like, well, tell me why. Like, besides that he wanted to be the Bachelor, and I mean, I know he's like 6'6" and hot and they're all jealous, but like, is it that or is he bad? Like, I'll believe it if you want, but like, give me facts. Like, I need receipts. Like, this is just like, oh, Thomas is bad. Yeah,
I don't get it either, because like, what they've shown and like the quote-unquote mistakes he's made aren't that bad, but there must be some kind of vibe he's putting off for people to just not like him. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I know you don't want to talk about Becca, but there's been a lot of headlines, Blake, and I know you guys, you know, maybe I talked to you in like March and you were like, we're just friends. And then it was like, we talked, whatever. Have you talked at all since everything's kind of blown up in your face? No, your face.
I mean, honestly, it's just like, everything. I don't want to talk too much about Becca because every time we do, it just puts on a microscope and things get blown up. And like, what I said got blown up, then what she said got blown up. And it was just like, so yeah, honestly, like I'm not going to talk about Becca anymore because everything we say about each other turns into clickbait, and it's just people run with it. So yeah, no, I'm just gonna stay away from that.
Are you still friends?
Yeah, we're friends. Yeah.
Okay.